Alright. Is it working? Alright. Oh god, so I don't know why this guy keeps ending up in my recommended, but he does. And I just didn't feel like going through like my whole little like editing process, starting up Vegas and downloading this video and little pictures and all that stuff. So I just decided that we'll just respond point by point and just do other stuff later. All right, there we go. Alright, start the video.
And welcome back. Today we're taking a look into the mind of an 18-year-old who's been brainwashed by the liberal media and Black Lives Matter, and probably the Young Turks. Let's take a look at Queen Tay's video simply called White Privilege. Let's check it out.
I don't even know what to call this because it's technically not a story time, it's more of a something happened and I want to talk out my feelings about it with you guys.
Telling us about the time something happened is a story time.
But I want to talk
He's right.
about white privilege because I feel like it's not talked about as often as it should be, especially on YouTube.
What fucking YouTube are you using? I hear social justice warriors talking about white privilege all the fucking time. It's on the vlogs and the news channels too. If anything, white privilege is talked about way too much here on YouTube, considering there are no actual privileges of being white, except the whitepeople.org newsletter, which does have a great crossword on Fridays. Besides that, nothing.
Except for the fact that you're way more likely to have access to intergenerational wealth, way more likely to get a call back on a job because you're way more likely to have a more, I guess one would say, traditional or conventional name. Citation for that in the description. There's just like a lot of stuff. There are plenty of benefits to being white, being a part of the majority group that happens to hold quite a bit of power in society. And it's always been like that throughout everywhere, no matter what society you're looking at. I have no idea why, for white people in particular, it really just grinds their gears to hear this sort of thing when it comes to them. It's almost as if you would truly believe that white people are the superior race and that you're just above every other kind of person, every other society that's come before you, and every other society that exists. Like, if you went to China, and you would notice that most people in power are, in some way, have some sort of relation to the Chinese Communist Party, and then even deeper than party lines, they are of the Han. The Han is it Han. I think it's a ethnic grouping that's been in power for in China for several years, millennia, to be exact. So why the fuck would that be a thing that we know is true, right? Why would that be a thing, but it's not a thing for white people here in their own society and countries? It really makes no sense, and it comes off as just incredibly intellectually dishonest.
Some people who are quite uneducated feel that white privilege is either just totally not a thing, or it is something that was made up by people of color to excuse why they sometimes don't get as far in life as people that are white or white passing.
Actually, those two reasons are pretty spot on, Queen Tay-Tay. White privilege is not a thing, and it is used by minorities sometimes to rationalize their lack of accomplishments. Now's the time in the video where I think I have to say, this girl is riddled with white guilt. It's so bad she wants to be anything but white, despite her rather area deep blue eyes and fair skin. Also, Tay-Tay's rocking a Bob Marley shirt, and she's got a dream catcher on her bedpost back there. She's a cultural appropriating hippie who is down with the cause. Fuck white people, am I right?
Oh god, this shit again. Alright, we'll get into these four idiots in a second. No, they're not good reasons. They're not good reasons to say it doesn't exist. That's like saying that like there are people who are non-Hans who don't make it as far, and they use the fact that that Chinese society prefers Hans and on above that prefers people who are the families and relatives and friends or whatever of people who are closely associated with the Communist Party of China. Like to rationalize their failures. Like maybe that is sometimes why, maybe that is like happening, but that doesn't negate the fact that these people do have a privilege over all the other people who are not in that particular in group. Like that's stupid. That's a non-reason. In fact, it's a non sequitur. Just because someone may use it as an excuse does not mean that it does not exist. That's dumb. That's like saying that evolution isn't a thing because the fucking Columbine idiots were fucking social Darwinists. Like, no, just because someone may attempt to use a certain thing as an excuse for some stupid shit doesn't mean that the thing is not real. That's silly.
Donald Trump. White people, what?
So today I had
Alright, and on that video, I would like to know where was everyone's outrage when some evil asshole live streamed himself raping a little black girl. Like where was your ire? Like just 2 weeks ago now, a guy that they interviewed all kinds of teammates, etc., and they found that there was all kinds of racial bullying, etc., and that things had been done to this young man who was also mentally handicapped, but instead was black, and you didn't care. This guy got 12 and a half days of community service. It'll probably last longer because it's over 300 hours. If you translate that strictly into days, it's 12 and a half days. But of course, he's not going to be doing it 20. That's only if you assume that he's doing it 24 hours, 24 hours all the way around, right? But the point is, he got the equivalent of 12 and a half days of community service on a plea deal. So he basically got off for hurting someone very much. So he also essentially torturing someone. So, but these kids are going to jail probably for a real long time, more likely, as they should. And for some reason, this is such a big deal. And what does this even have to do with white privilege? White privilege does not say that you will never be harmed, you'll never face any hardship. It's just there's certain shit you don't have to deal with. It's fucking stupid. Like I ain't exactly, like, just to be frank, I'm not like some like super broke ass dude, right? Like I'm doing all right, right? But I can still expect to be racially profiled, and I still sometimes am, right? Where white people don't get that. Like, if you look like trash, yeah, you can be hassled, but usually if you don't look like trash, people just believe you're not. But if you're black and you don't look like trash, you can still expect to be hassled, followed, or, police, whatever. It's really, really stupid. Like, and that's just one kind of clear example that's pretty standard. We'll get into some more in a second. Let's just get back to the video. But where's the button?
my very first reel where I kind of truly realized what was going on, white privilege experience.
This should be good. An anecdotal story from a ditzy liberal hippie. Can't wait.
And I'm gonna get into that in a second. Me, Bree, and Haley.
Poisoning the well. Just because of who or what she is, she could be ditzy, she could be a hippie, she could be a liberal. Doesn't mean that what she's about to say should automatically be disregarded out of hand. So, yeah, fallacy.
Haley, we're at the mall. We went to sushi. I'm sure you all saw. It was on Snapchat. It was on Instagram. Great day. Whatever.
Sushi is a good choice because not only does it make you look healthy, it also shows this girl is down with Asians too. Sayonara, Saka. Oh, that's racist.
So, anyways, we were leaving. I was in quite a hurry because my parents had called and said that they needed me home right away. I was 30 minutes from home, so I was trying to get there as fast as possible.
Boring. I hope she gets to the point soon. By the way, I just noticed she has those Christmas lights in her room too, just like every other bedroom feminist ever. Nice.
There was a bunch of traffic. I wasn't paying attention. It was my fault. And I ran not a stoplight, but a stop sign, which I'm usually pretty good at stopping. And I have never been pulled over in my life. Okay? I try to be a good driver. I try to follow the law as much as I can.
There we
And
go.
all of a sudden, while I'm still driving, I see these blue flashing lights. And at this point, there is one car. Okay?
Are you sure? One car? You look a little perplexed to me. Take your time. I mean, maybe even write things down before you film your video. Planning your videos out can go a long way in helping you not look like an idiot.
And so I look at Bree and I'm like, Bree, are they flashing at me? Like,
That's not true. I'm pretty sure all this snappy little editing, etc. You probably planned a lot of this out, and you still look stupid, just like in the last video that I made about you.
do I need to pull over? And she's like, yeah, you should probably just go ahead and pull over. I pull over.
Pulling over or not shouldn't even be a question. A cop is behind you with his lights on. You obviously need to pull over.
Which I pulled over at a not safe part, which they told me as we were leaving. That was my mistake as well, but it was my first time getting pulled over. I've never experienced anything like this, like I said.
I think I know where the story is going, so I want to now note she has been repeatedly saying this is the first time she was ever pulled over. Being her first time, she doesn't really know how being pulled over is like at all, so she has no experience personally and no data scientifically. Pretty much nothing at all. And with that said, continue, Tay-Tay.
And the woman that got out,
What is that? That's well poisoning again. That doesn't mean anything. Like, just because it's her first time doesn't mean that her experience is not valid. It does not mean any. Like, you could say an anecdote is like not not evidence for anything except for your ability to have an experience. That'd be reasonable. But this other shit about attacking what she is and whether or not she's had any experience or whatever, it's just stupid.
was white, I would assume, or at least white passing, but I'm pretty sure she was white.
The race of the officer doesn't really matter here, but thanks for letting us know. She's white, or at least white passing. By the way, I hate this phrase white passing. She said it before and I think I know why. Queen Tay looks white. She says she's white passing though, because she doesn't want to claim to be white. She's probably part Hispanic or black and would rather get those minority points. Street cred. This is more tribal than that dream catcher back there.
She said, licensing.
What's tribal about it? If anything, it's less tribal, because if she wanted to be truly just be tribal, she just pick a side, you know? She's just not wanting to erase either side of her identity. Now me, you can call me tribal because I am, but people say biracial. I prefer mulatto because it's a funny word. Like, just say it, mulatto. It's funny. I prefer that, but I am, right? And I just say I'm black. Like, if someone asks for details, yes, I will tell you that I'm a mulatto, technically with Hispanic heritage, whatever. But my father is obviously, if you would look at him, is white, and my mother is black, right? Yeah. What I'm doing is, we looked at as tribal. She's being as partisan as she can with her mix, actually. She's trying her hardest not to be like saying like, oh, I'm one or the other. She just says that, it doesn't mean that she's mixed, but she's white passing. So, yeah. No. Why is with this tendency of people on that side of the argument always speaking on stuff that they really have no clue about? There's this one video I did about that guy about colorism. Then there's this other thing about the police violence, and now he's talking about how people should be acting and talking when they're, uh, uh, when they're mixed. Like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Like, oh my god, like, what the fuck, dude?
In registration. I found my license. I could not find my registration. And she, I guess, had called in backup for whatever reason. And there were 2 officers that approached now.
I'm glad you can count, eh? I gotta admit, I was a little worried there for a second. And calling for backup is pretty standard for police and pullovers.
She said, okay, do you have insurance on the car?
No, it's not. Not unless not unless they feel it's necessary. And yeah, sometimes fumbling around in your car looking for something can make certain cops pretty uneasy. It all depends. Depends on the cop. But yeah, that's not standard procedure. Unless they feel it necessary. No. You don't get 2 or 3 cops surrounding you randomly just because you got pulled over for speeding every single time that happens. It's not a thing. It's not how that works. Good God, with these cop ball washers, it's like they don't give a they're so fucking weird. Like they talk like they're actually cops. Like they actually know exactly how things are supposed to go. All like a thing. Like they're like this. This is a really by the book. He discharged his weapon and like shut up. You don't know what you're fucking talking about. That's not how that works. You're fucking stupid.
I said, yes, let me pull it up in an email because I, again, did not have my insurance card. I need to find it. I know I'm awful. I pulled that up, sat there and waited for about 10 minutes, and I was terrified. And I just kept looking at Bree, and Bree and I are both mixed. We're mixed in different ways. Like, Bree is white Native American as well as black, and I'm white and Hispanic.
Called it. She's not white, guys. She's mixed and very, very proud of it. This is also a good look into the girl's mind and thought process. It's pretty much all about race for her. Identity politics at its finest. Race is all these regressive shitheads talk about. They force it into every situation they can, like this girl with her pulled over story.
But we're still...
Oh, God. So, I just want to take this time out, because I knew he'd bring out the phrase, but I was actually discussing this earlier, right before I came on here. Identity politics is all politics. All politics are identity politics. No matter how badly you want it to be different, that's how it is. Okay? That's how it is. That's how it works. All politics is tied to some kind of identity. It's like whether I think what you specifically want to say is racial politics, because other than that, all of it, you're stupid. It's class. That's a part of your identity, and it has a political angle. Identity politics. Nation. National identity, where you're from, national identifiers, American, British, Irish, Canadian. Identity. Political angle to it. Identity politics. It's all identity politics. No matter what part of politics that you want to talk about, since it's affecting people and people have identities, anything in relation to people, humans in a political realm has something to do with identity and will always inherently be identity politics. You can never get away from it. Point blank, period. So attempting to use that term as like a discrediting thing of even just speaking about race or anything, whatever. I mean, if you have a problem with identity politics, truly, you can never talk politics ever again. Ever. Conservative, that's an identity. It's an ideology. It's whatever. It becomes a part of your identity because you identify with certain beliefs. And they're integral to who you are. Your beliefs are a part of who you are, so it becomes a part of your identity. And then you just insert your political angle or aims and identity politics. Liberal versus conservative, politics. Progressive versus regressive, identity politics. All of it. So I guess the point of that rant is you're stupid. And also, as a minority coming out of a minority home, especially possibly if she lives in like a city or something, you are taught to be very careful around police because they are very quick to harm you over the slightest little thing. So it kind of makes sense given the fact that she comes from a minority home, and so does her friend. More than likely, they were given the same talk about how you interact with police, how you talk to them, what to do, what not to do, etc. And it's got them spooked, especially since this is like their very first time really interacting with police like that. So yeah. And then I guess it's up for debate whether or not those talks are useful, if they're true, right? But yeah, no nuance there at all. Like, oh, whatever. You're stupid.
Still both mixed, so we kind of understand, but we don't fully understand, if that makes sense, because we're still slightly white passing. Bree obviously is not as white passing as me, but she's still fairly light.
Oh, also on top of that, that is one thing I did want to respond to this young lady. Sweetheart, I am Hispanic. Y soy negro. See? Yeah. Hispanic's not a race. It's not a race. It's an ethnic identifier, ethnic grouping, a way to describe a certain kind of culture. You are Hispanic. I am Hispanic. Zoe Saldana is Hispanic. We are Hispanics. We are Latinos. We are, we are that, but we are still the race that we are. Okay? We are the race that we are. Still. So you're not white and Hispanic. You might be white and a bit of Native, or white and a lot of Native, and maybe some African in there, or whatever, depending on what your actual makeup is. Probably take a DNA test, but white and Hispanic, that's not a coherent description for a mix. I'm sorry, that just sounds stupid. It just sounds ridiculous. I'm sorry. I feel like I just had to say it. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. But that's stupid.
As am I.
You're fucking white, Queen Tay. Get over it.
And eventually,
I mean, she appears white, but she may have other things in there, and that would be disingenuous to just solely identify with one. I mean, in her own thing. For me, I don't care about the other stuff in there, right? Because, I mean, I show you my dick, but that's not permitted on YouTube. But, obviously, obvious nigger here. So, of course, that's what I'm rolling with. But, she might feel differently about it. I mean, you can't tell someone how to identify. Like, suck my dick, you entitled fuck. Who you think you are to tell someone how they can or cannot identify with the ethnic heritages that make up them? Like, suck my dick. 2 times.
after it must have been 20 to 30 minutes, they come back. The woman comes back and says, "Okay, this is obviously your first time getting pulled over. You're 18. You're a fairly new driver, so I'm gonna let you off the warning."
This is good. The officer let you off and they told you exactly why they did it. You're 18 and a new driver. You don't have any visible weapons or drugs in the car. You don't look like criminals. You're just 2 cute girls who ran a stop sign by accident. Letting you off with a warning is perfectly within the cop's discretion here. I was let off the first 2 times I was pulled over when I was 18. And the outcome of this story has nothing to do with anyone's race in the situation. You could have been black, the cop could have been Asian or male. Everyone's races and genders have nothing to do with it.
I said, "Okay, thank you."
You don't know that. You're doing the exact same thing that you accuse SJWs of, but in reverse. Literally, you're like, oh, they're assuming that so much is about race, da 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 da. But now you're assuming that it's just not about race ever. Like, there's just no such thing as prejudice. No one has prejudices. People are just inherent. Everyone's just nice to everyone in the exact same capacity. Nobody has favorites. Nobody likes vanilla over chocolate. Nobody likes fucking Asian girls over white girls, black girls over whatever. Nobody likes Spanish over that. Like, none of this is, like, none of that's real. Like, are you serious? This lack of self-awareness from people like you is baffling. Like, I don't know. Like, you could say it's the null position, right? But the null position would be I don't really know, right? Because that's the null hypothesis when we're talking about actual data. Like, okay, you're showing me this thing, but I'm not sure, so I'm gonna say no, I don't believe that. That's the null thing. But you asserting in a positive that this thing absolutely has nothing to do with something, that's a thing that you are claiming is true. So you have to prove that. But you can't prove a negative. So you just put yourself in some religious territory with an unfalsifiable hypothesis. Like, we have no way of knowing really either way from her story. So what was the point of that? So you could just inject your little fuck the progressives like agenda in there real quick? Like, are you serious? Fucking blow me, dude.
So much, ma'am. I appreciate it. And she said, but you could have gotten 3 tickets today for number 1, running a stop sign, which is crazy in my opinion, but it's the law.
What's crazy about that? I assume you think getting a ticket for running a stop sign is crazy, because saying you don't have to stop at a stop sign sounds really fucking crazy. And you should get a ticket for running a stop sign. That's perfectly normal and justified.
Number 2, not having your vehicle registration, and number 3, not having your entrance information. But it was the moment that we drove away when it really hit me, and Bree and I were talking about this afterwards. There were 3 factors. If number 1, we weren't maybe as white passing, or we weren't as fair skinned as we are, that could have gone a lot differently. Number 2,
Bull fucking shit. Race had nothing to do with anything here. The only reason you think that is because you buy into this bullshit narrative that all cops are racist. They are not racist. And there are other races that are cops besides white people. There's black cops, Hispanic cops, Asian cops. There's no big racist conspiracy. The only thing things would have gone different in your pulled over story is if you girls acted different. If you would have not pulled over, for example, or if you acted sketchy or resisted the cops' orders, then shit could have went down. And it should have went down. Being calm and listening to the police orders isn't that hard. The people that get shot and taken down by the police are the ones that are acting a fool.
we were
Except for right here in your comment section, people quoting actual story that was of a state trooper who ordered a guy to get his ID. He said, "Okay, let me get it." Bam, dead. Shot him right in the fucking chest. After he commanded him, I think it was he or she. I'll cite the article, but whatever. This fucker commanded the guy to get it. He commanded the guy to get it. And fucking shot him anyway. He wasn't doing anything wrong. Like, there was under some sort of suspicion that, that he was one of the people who did something wrong. But at the end of the day, it's innocent until proven guilty. So at that point, he wasn't doing anything wrong. He was cooperating. He was commanded to do something. He went to do it and got fucking shot. I'm not sure if he's dead. I'll still cite the article and stuff, but man, like, are you serious? No, they're not. No, like a lot of people are fucking shot unnecessarily of like all colors. And also this bullshit talking point that you have to be a white person to be anti-black or anti-Asian or anti-Arab or whatever. Like, no, I know plenty of black people who don't like black people for all the same goofy ass stereotypical bullshit reasons. I know plenty of Hispanics who don't like black people for all the same stereotypical, bullshit reasons. I know blacks who don't like Hispanics for the same, stereotypical bullshit reasons, or whatever. And same thing for like Asians, Arabs, whatever. Like, everybody has the capacity to hate everybody. That's bullshit. Like, oh, it's a black cop, so there's nothing to do with race. Like, are you fucking sane? So what? So now you've joined. So now what? You've joined us progressives? Are you saying that fucking black people can't be racist now? Is that the thing? It's just not possible. But you do believe that there are white people who hate themselves, who do hate other white people for being white. But there are no black people who hate black people for being black. Are you fucking serious? You're a fucking retard. And even ultimately on this story, there's really no way of knowing. It's like I said earlier. Her and her friend are both coming out of homes raised by minorities, given her attitude and what she's into, probably very liberal kind of people in general. They both obviously were given the cop talk, which is something that happens to people of color, where we're told what you do in front of a cop, what you don't do in front of a cop, how you speak to them, short answers, try not to do this, try not to do that, don't irritate them, blah, blah, blah. Like, little ins and outs of do this stuff if you don't want to die, or you don't want them to, arrest you and ruin your life or whatever, stuff like that. That's what that's about. So more than likely, you are taught in these talks, yes. So I'm going to go ahead and reveal that, yes, we are taught that, yes, I know this isn't fair, that you have to jump through all these hoops and be the perfect person when you're interacting with a police officer, but you're not white, or tú no eres mejor. That's it. Like, you're not white. I'm sorry. That's the hand you were dealt. You gotta play the hand you're dealt. That's it. You gotta be careful with the cops. That's your life, right? That's your life. And that's what we're taught. And people believe that, they think that, and this is a byproduct of that. Now, if you want to dispute that mindset, then do that. But to try and come down and say all this dumb shit about how there's no racial conspiracy and there's no racism because police forces are diverse? By what stretch of the imagination anyway? Aside from large urban city centers like New York and Chicago, there's actually nationwide not that significantly amount of fucking minority cops. Like in general, I mean, we took like all cops, not just in certain, large concentrated areas like, LA or New York or Chicago and Wisconsin. Like, are you serious? Like, that doesn't even work when just looking at the raw data of how many there are, and then now you're assuming that whites are the only ones who can inflict or be racist towards blacks or any other kind of person of color. And oh my god, you're so stupid. I think it's gonna make me cry. Let me just finish this video.
We're dressed fairly nicely, and I feel like it could have gone differently then.
Well, I feel like your feelings are not an argument, Queen K.
Not an argument. It's not an argument. It's not an argument.
They're also fucking wrong. What you were wearing had nothing to do with it.
What you were wearing? Are you serious? I thought you said that that there was such thing as being able to look like a criminal, right? So what would look like a criminal be? I'm sure you've got your idea, whatever, certain clothing or whatever. It's the only way you can look like a criminal, as opposed to possibly randomly fitting a description or something. If they pull you over and they have no like suspicion of a crime already, you being sketchy, which is vague as fuck, also has a look to it. Yes. So what she was wearing absolutely did have an impact on that, because what you're wearing and how you are carrying yourself impacts your interactions with everyone that you come across, not just cops. This is bullshit. Ideologue bullshit. Like, no. Just garbage. It doesn't even make any logical sense. Like, that's stupid. That's like if I said I could walk outside naked right now and everyone would interact with me just the same. No, it's not. What I'm wearing or what I'm not wearing fucking means a lot. Are you fucking stupid? Humans are visual creatures just in general. That's just like a biological fact. Like, what are you talking about? Like, this shit is straight into just flat out anti-scientific territory here. Like, that's stupid.
And number 3, we had a fairly nice car that we were driving, and I drive a Mustang, and it looks very appealing. Not bragging, but I'm just saying it's a good car.
You are so bragging. This is humble bragging at its worst. And your car had nothing to do with it, just like your clothes. Cops don't see beat up cars and then immediately go and shoot the drivers. They don't rate someone's outfit and say, hey, you look like a 6 today, I'm gonna have to tase you. Your perception of the police is way fucking off.
That's not true, because they profile people based on things that they wear. So obviously what you wear matters. Obviously your car matters, because it's obvious. Like, are you serious? Are you serious? Do you think if you drove into fucking Beverly Hills with your beater that the local police force are just, that might be patrolling the area, are not gonna pull you over, wondering what your fucking bucket driving ass is doing in this neighborhood? Are you serious right now? And like, that's regardless of color. Like, are you serious? Like, just absolute anti-scientific bullshit. Just bullshit. Good God, you are a fucking ideologue.
So that was kind of our come to Jesus moment where we truly understood, and I truly understood for the first time, that I, being so white passing, really do have privilege, because there are people that are getting killed for trying to look for their license and registration.
Wait, stop. No one got killed for going for their license and registration. This girl is totally brainwashed by fake news and Black Lives Matter bullshit. I think she's hinting at the shooting of Philando Castile, since this video was a few months ago. And Philando was reaching when the cops told him not to move. He also had a weapon on him and was a robbery suspect. He wasn't shot for going to grab his insurance.
No, he was suspected of being the suspect. He was not the actual suspect. They actually they showed a picture of the guy and a picture of Philando. Philando is not the guy. Like if it would have came out already, right? That he actually was the guy, but it's not. So that's wrong. 2, I think the moral of that story really is that there was really no reason for that guy to jump to grabbing his gun like that. Like, he heard the guy say that I have a weapon, which in a lot of states you actually do have to inform them that you have a weapon. Like they say, if you are legally carrying a weapon, even in states where it's not legally obligated, you are taught when you're after you're taking your classes or whatever. Well, this is like from personal experience recently. I purchased a firearm. If you're going to be riding with it, because I have the concealed carry, that you should, if you do get pulled over, that you should inform the officer and let them know that you have it with you and that it's in the car. In if it's relevant, exactly where it is, where they might find it if they were, searching for it or whatever. So he did what essentially would be the smart thing. Just the guy overreacted of hearing a black guy say he had a gun and pointed a gun at him. and he obviously wanted to prove that, hey, I am who I am, and I'm innocent or whatever. And maybe he shouldn't have did that. Sure, but was it worth like a fucking 2 bullets in the stomach? Fuck no. And even now the Philando thing, there was like an actual guy that we mentioned in the video that was also mentioned in your fucking comment section, that who was fucking shot by a state trooper after reaching for an ID that he was told to get. And there's other things of videos and in other cases where guys have been like, they walked up and they've either been tased or shot or fucked with because the cop was from a distance, saw them digging around in their car and thought that they were dangerous. And surprise, they happen to be usually black males. Like, are you serious? Are you fucking serious? Fuck your narrative.
And there are people that are getting killed for not having their insurance information, which I didn't have.
She believes people are killed for not having their insurance information. Just let that sink in for a sec. She thinks cops pull people over, ask for insurance, and then boom, shoot the person for not having it. Nothing else in the story, no context. The driver wasn't suspicious, reaching for weapons, or disobeying police orders. They were just shot because they were black and didn't have insurance. Boom, end of life. That's what this girl is trying to say here, and it's disgusting. And you know what? In her efforts to coddle the minorities and excuse their misdeeds, she's actually becoming the thing she's fought against. Queen Tay, you are the racist in this video. First, you're saying all white cops are racist and shoot blacks for no reason. That's anti-white racism. Next is the subtle racism of lowered expectations for black people. You give them no responsibility for their actions or life situations. You strip them of agency. By buying into the idea that black crime and poverty is the white man's fault, you've become a racist yourself.
And I just
No one, she never even applied anything about poverty or crime or none of that shit. Like, it doesn't even, none of that's even relevant. Like, black crime, like all crime, is trending downward, but like reports in of fucking police, killings are trending upward. And usually, if you're black, you also have a high chance of it turning violent, even if you are unarmed. Like, that's fucking stupid. Like, that is just fucking dumb. Like, you're just fucking stupid. Like, I can't even believe that anyone was this fucking stupid. That's not even a thing. She didn't even do what you claim she did. There are people who do that, right? But that's not even what happened. Like, that's stupid. And historically speaking, yes, the lack of intergenerational wealth that African Americans and other, minorities or whatever don't have is in fact the fault of the mostly white controlled governments, whether they be state or federal. Are you serious? These are just fucking facts. Like, get over it. Get over yourself. Fuck your narrative. What the fuck? Also, she never said that all white cops. When people just say cops and you just say that's because they're white or whatever, like, that's stupid. I mean, sure, she noted that the chick was white in the first place, but that doesn't necessarily mean that she translates the oh shit, white and a cop, better get strapped in for some of that good old timey racism. Like, that's not what I got from this. That's what you got from it because you're an ideologue, and that's what you think of immediately as soon as you even see the phrase itself. Just simply see the phrase white privilege. So yeah, fuck your narrative, fuck your ideology, and let's just keep. This video is almost over, so let's do it.
I feel awful because
You have white guilt. You feel guilty for being white, and it's kind of sad and unnecessary. You didn't own slaves just like I didn't fight the Indians. There's no reason for us to hold white guilt for other generations where we weren't even there.
She's mixed. How can she have white guilt? That's like me for saying what I just said means that I've got white guilt. Because of the white in her, that means that she has white guilt. Like, what is this? What even is this? And it's stupid. Like, if you like, that's stupid. This is a bullshit shaming tactic that people on the right attempt to use. Like, you're not a bad person for feeling bad that in the past people used to do fucked up to things to people because of their national origin, religion, or race, and that you might be benefiting from that years of oppression. That's not a bad thing. That's a good thing that you think that that's bad. There's no reason for you to feel like you're personally responsible, but it's good. It's human that you think that that thing is bad, and you would actively work against it ever becoming the norm again. That's good. And whatever, like, don't let, like, I don't care what you think of me, but like, man, like, I like, whoever you are, don't let people like this make you think that feeling bad for someone and them getting dealt a shitty hand makes you a bad person. Like, since when does sympathizing with people make you a bad person? Like, that's some goddamn sociopathic bullshit right there, if I've ever fucking heard it. And I'm just being frank here.
Don't want to have that privilege, if it makes sense. I feel like we should all be equal, and I feel like there shouldn't be, and it sickens me to death that there is some type of level of privilege that people get for the way that they look.
If you have any privilege at all, it's pretty girl privilege. It has nothing to do with being white. People are nicer to you and let you get away with shit, like spewing racism. They let you get away with shit because you're cute, and most guys are gonna want to fuck you. And girls, well, most of your girlfriends are probably just as dumb as you are.
And it frustrates me because
Pretty girl privilege? I mean, you could call that something of a privilege because you didn't earn it. No, also pretty also is a thing that's also shaped by something like her race, right? Like, if she looked how she looked and say she was my color, or like, you know, like real dark brown, like black, more black looking, or at least a little more ethnic looking, would you think that she was just as pretty? You know, everyone, we have our standards and tastes, and sometimes those things fall in line with certain racial groups. So no, that would still you can't get away from this stuff, no matter how you try to disassociate. I'm sorry. I don't know what the fuck to tell you, but that's just life. Like, I don't even know. I'm sorry. I'm personally sorry for you that you would like for this to not be a thing, but that's just how reality is, and reality doesn't give a fuck about your feelings. So, you know, there's that. And she kind of does have a privilege, because we do have cases of people who are black who were rummaging for their registration and them being, you know, treated worse, whether it be killed, tased, made to step out of a vehicle or whatever at a normal traffic stop, you know, where she just got a warning. That's a privilege. Over, you know, the case that I will link in the description, and other cases that I will also link in the description, and we also have video evidence of and stuff like that. That's a privilege over that person. Like, that's stupid. Like this is just so, it's just flat out retarded.
I feel like I don't have the ability to change it altogether, because if I could change it by the snap of a finger, I would in an instant. And
Oh, Tay-Tay, you're so brave, so virtuous. I dub thee Queen Tay, the virtuous biracial snowflake.
it's just so upsetting to me that the world is so broken. How
You're using that wrong. Virtue signal is about people saying one thing and doing another. They're talking a good game, but they actually don't mean what they're talking about. It was actually originally used by someone who was a leftist, who was talking about fucking hippy dippy vegan fucks who were talking about the earth and saving this and that, but they were still shopping and buying stuff from these companies that were exploiting and all this stuff, and factories, all that, you know, that stuff, environmental shit mostly, right? So that was a thing. to describe those people. You know, essentially another way to describe slacktivists. You know, posting about stuff, blog about it, and forget about it and go back and do the exact same destructive bullshit behavior. Right now, you are attempting to act as a mind reader. You're acting as if you know why she's saying this, as if you know that, in fact, she does not actually mean what she's saying. That's what virtuous signaling means. You're attempting to look virtuous, but you more than likely actually don't care about the issues. You don't actually feel as strongly as you attempt to put up the front about. You're just trying to win brownie points. You have no idea if she does care. You just don't. So, yeah, fuck your narrative, fuck your misuse of terms. Let's keep going.
What is, and we still look at people because of the way that they appear.
Well, if anyone in this story is looking at people and judging them by how they appear, it's you, Mother Virtue. Race is all you talk about. You're biracial, your friend is triracial, the cop is white, you got white privilege, cops shoot people because they're black. You're the racist accusing everyone else of racism. If you want to fix a problem, fix yourself first. Well, that's about it. Just a lot of virtue signaling in this one. This girl, like so many others we've seen on the show, Queen Tay thinks very, very highly of herself. But the thing is, she's helping solve a problem that's already been solved. We have equality in America, Tay-Tay. You're just not smart enough to recognize it. You've been sucked into the regressive mindset of fuck white people and black people can do no wrong and are victims of endless racism, and that's the reason for everything. Also, what the hell do you know about being pulled over? You said this was your first time, but all of a sudden you know you were let go because you were white? You know nothing, Queen Snow. What do you guys think? Is this girl experiencing white privilege or white guilt? Comment below, and thanks for watching a new episode of No Bullshit. See y'all next time.
That was just fucking stupid. So how would you know? I don't know. How would you know that she wasn't? Your whole point of your video was to refute that she is, but you don't know either. You weren't fucking there. Like, what even is this crap? You're doing the exact same thing that she is, but in reverse now. Like, you're criticizing the behavior, but now you're exhibiting it, and no one will ever call you on it. And to just, I don't even care. He's been thoroughly rebutted. He's retarded. He's a retarded ideologue, and that's that. I'm gonna end the stream now. And at this point, I would like to thank you guys for watching. Please remember to rate the video and subscribe for more content. Not necessarily like this, because this is just me being lazy, though I do think it, but it is fun. But, you know, more stuff. More likely like this, but probably gonna do some other stuff. So subscribe for more stuff. Definitely stuff.